Chapter 26. Do not make idols for yourselves, and do not set up a carved image or a pillar for yourselves. And do not place a stone image in your land to bow down to it. For I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Guard my Sabbaths and reverence my set-apart place. I am Yahuwah. If you walk in my laws and guard my commands and shall do them, then I shall give you rain in its season, and the land shall yield its crops, and the trees of the field yield their fruit. And your threshing shall last till the time of the grape harvest, and the grape harvest shall last till the time of sowing. And you shall eat your bread until you have enough, and shall dwell in your land safely. And I shall give you peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and no one make you afraid. And I shall clear the land of evil beasts, and not let the sword go through your land. And you shall pursue your enemies, and they shall fall by the sword before you. And 5 of you shall pursue 100, and 100 of you pursue 10,000, and your enemies shall fall by the sword before you. And I shall turn to you and make you fruitful, and shall increase you, and shall establish my covenant with you. And you shall eat the old supply, and clear out the old because of the new. And I shall set my dwelling place in your midst, and my being shall not reject you. And I shall walk in your midst, and shall be your Elohim, and you shall be my people. I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim from being their slaves. And I have broken the bars of your yoke and made you walk upright. But if you do not obey me and do not do all these commands, and if you reject my laws, or if your being loathes my right rulings, so that you do not do all my commands but break my covenant, I also do this to you. And I shall appoint sudden alarm over you, wasting disease and inflammation, destroying the eyes and consuming the life. And you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. And I shall set my face against you, and you shall be smitten before your enemies. And those who hate you shall rule over you, and you shall flee when no one pursues you. And after all this, if you do not obey me, then I shall punish you 7 times more for your sins. And I shall break the pride of your power, and shall make your heavens like iron, and your earth like bronze. And your strength shall be spent in vain, and your land not yield its crops, nor the trees of the land yield their fruit. And if you walk contrary to me, you refuse to obey me, and I shall bring on you 7 times more plagues according to your sins, and send wild beasts among you, which shall bereave you of your children. And I shall cut off your livestock, and make you few in number, and your highways shall be deserted. And if you are not instructed by me by these, but walk contrary to me, then I shall walk contrary to you, and I myself shall strike you 7 times for your sins. And I shall bring against you a sword, executing the vengeance of my covenant, and you shall gather together in your cities, and I shall send pestilence among you, and you shall be given into the hand of your enemy. When I have cut off your supply of bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall bring back to you your bread by weight, and you shall eat and not be satisfied. And if in spite of this you do not obey me, but walk contrary to me, then I shall walk contrary to you in wrath, and I myself shall punish you 7 times for your sins. And you shall eat the flesh of your sons, and eat the flesh of your daughters. And I shall destroy your high places, and cut down your sun pillars, and put your carcasses on the carcasses of your idols. And my being shall loathe you. And I shall turn your cities into ruins, and lay your set-apart places waste, and not smell your sweet fragrances. And I shall lay the land waste, and your enemies who dwell in it shall be astonished at it. And I shall scatter you among the nations, and draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be a desert, and your cities ruins, and the land enjoy its Sabbaths as long as it lies waste, and you are in your enemy's land. Then the land would rest and enjoy its Sabbaths. As long as it lies waste, it rests, for the time it did not rest on your Sabbaths when you dwelt in it. And as for those of you who are left, I shall send faintness into their hearts in the land of their enemies, and the sound of a shaken leaf causes them to flee. And they shall flee as though retreating from a sword, and they shall fall when no one pursues. And they shall stumble over one another, as from before a sword, when no one pursues. And you shall be unable to stand before your enemies. And you shall perish among the nations, and the land of your enemies shall eat you up. And those of you who are left rot away in their crookedness in your enemies' lands, and also in their fathers' crookedness rot away with them. But if they confess their crookedness and the crookedness of their fathers with their trespass in which they trespassed against me, and that they have also walked contrary to me, and that I also have walked contrary to them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies, if their uncircumcised heart is then humbled, and they accept the punishment of their crookedness, Then I shall remember my covenant with Yaakov, and also my covenant with Yitzchak, and also my covenant with Abraham, and remember the land. For the land was abandoned by them, and enjoying its Sabbaths while lying waste without them. And they were paying for their crookedness, because they rejected my right rulings, and because their being loathed my laws. And yet for all this, when they are in the land of their enemies, I shall not reject them, nor shall I loathe them, so as to destroy them and break my covenant with them. For I am Yahuwah their Elohim. Then I shall remember them for their sake. Then I shall remember for their sake the covenant of the ancestors whom I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim before the eyes of the nations to be their Elohim. I am Yahuwah. These are the laws and the right rulings and the Torah which Yahuwah made between himself and the children of Israel on Mount Sinai by the hand of Moshe. Chapter 27. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When a man separates a vow by your evaluation of lives unto Yahuwah, when your evaluation is of a male from 20 years old up to 60 years old, then your evaluation shall be 50 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the set-apart place. And if it is a female, then your evaluation shall be 30 shekels. And if from 5 years old up to 20 years old, then your evaluation for a male shall be 20 shekels, and for a female 10 shekels. And if from a new moon old up to 5 years old, then your evaluation for a male shall be 5 shekels of silver, and for a female your evaluation shall be 3 shekels of silver. And if from 6 years old and above, if it is a male, then your evaluation shall be 15 shekels, and for a female 10 shekels. But if he is too poor to pay your evaluation, then he shall present himself before the priest, and the priest shall set a value for him. According to the ability of him who vowed, the priest shall value him. And if it is a beast of which they bring an offering to Yahuwah, all such given to Yahuwah is set apart. He is not to replace it or exchange it, good for spoiled or spoiled for good. And if he at all exchanges beast for beast, then both it and the one exchanged for it is set apart. And if it is any unclean beast of which they do not bring an offering to Yahuwah, then he shall present the beast before the priest, and the priest shall value it, whether it is good or spoiled. According to the evaluation, O priest, so it shall be. But if he indeed redeems it, then he shall add 1/5 to your evaluation. And when a man sets his house apart, to be set apart to Yahuwah, then the priest shall value it, whether it is good or spoiled. As the priest values it, so it stands. And if he who sets it apart does redeem his house, then he shall add 1/5 of the silver to your evaluation to it, and it shall be his. And if a man sets apart to Yahuwah a field he owns, then your evaluation shall be according to the seed for it, a homer for barley seed at 50 shekels of silver. If he sets his field apart from the year of Yobel, according to your evaluation, it stands. But if he sets his field apart after the Yobel, then the priest shall reckon to him the silver due according to the years that remain till the year of Yobel, and it shall be deducted from your evaluation. And if he who sets the field apart ever wishes to redeem it, then he shall add 1/5 of the silver to your evaluation to it, and it shall be his. And if he does not redeem the field, or if he has sold the field to another man, it is no longer redeemed. But the field, when it is released in the Yobel, is set apart to Yahuwah as a dedicated field to be the possession of the priest. And if a man sets apart to Yahuwah a field which he has bought, which is not the field of his possession, then the priest shall reckon to him the amount of your evaluation up to the year of Yobel, and he shall give your evaluation on that day, set apart to Yahuwah. In the year of Yobel, the field returns to him whom he bought it, to him who is the possession of the land. And all your evaluations are to be according to the shekel of the set-apart place, 20 gerahs to the shekel. However, a firstborn of the beast, which is firstborn to Yahuwah, no man sets it apart, whether bull or sheep, it belongs to Yahuwah. And if among the unclean beasts, then he shall ransom it according to your evaluation, and shall add 1/5 to it. And if it is not redeemed, then it shall be sold according to your evaluation. However, whatever a man lays under the ban for Yahuwah, of all that he has, man and beast, or of the fields of his possession, is not sold or redeemed. Whatever is laid under the ban is most set apart to Yahuwah. No one under the ban among men is ransomed, but shall certainly be put to death. And all the tithe of the land, and all of the seed of the land, or of the fruit of the tree, belongs to Yahuwah. It is set apart to Yahuwah. If a man indeed redeems any of his tithes, he adds 1/5 to it. And the entire tithe of the herd and of the flock, all that passes under the rod, the 10th one is set apart to Yahuwah. He does not inquire whether it is good or spoiled, nor does he exchange it. And if he exchanges it at all, then both it and the wood exchanged for it are set apart. It is not redeemed. These are the commands which Yahuwah commanded Moshe for the children of Israel on Mount Sinai.